Okay, first time I go live, I'll be doing some testing. Okay, first time I go live, I'll be doing some testing. Very well, so works. I'll be muting myself on my computer. Okay. Hello everyone, welcome to Bruno's MMA show. Excuse the current background. This will all get better very soon. I'll be upgrading the over time. I'll be upgrading the production values of this show. Even though it was always a running joke that I would grab a piece of paper, write Bruno's MMA show on it, and be like, "Oh, this is the show, the MMA show with the best production values." So you can expect very soon a better background behind me and better lighting on my face, not just the light coming on one side of this window. And yeah, I am, for those wondering, I am drinking a Starbucks double shot white chocolate. Tastes okay, a bit too sugary. I like sugary drinks, but they have limits. Nevertheless, I need a caffeine, so I'll be drinking it. Okay. First order of business. Um, I am streaming live on Odyssey for the first time. Odisee, written like that. So the reason why is because Odyssey allows me to receive. I have a live chat and I get tips in their cryptocurrency, which are called library credits. I think library something. LBRY. I don't know if that cryptocurrency is gonna amount to anything, but hey, it's a tip that people can give live. Kind of the equivalent of a YouTube super chat, but it's called hyper chat. It's gonna be trying Odyssey for a while. Now, I want to make a statement about Odyssey. Yeah, it's kind of like this new streaming platform, and I want to make a statement. So anyone out there who cares about having Odyssey become its own thing and likes MMA, and if you like what I do, um, right now I upload like most like a lot of people on Odyssey, except for those who are blocked from YouTube, banned or whatever. I upload on both YouTube and Odyssey. And here's my offer to anyone who wants Odyssey to become its own thing. And I'd be willing to, what Odyssey needs is, I think, creators who choose to put stuff only on that platform. You know what? I'd be happy to be that guy. If anyone wants me to stream exclusively on Odyssey, which anyone can watch, even non members, same as YouTube, all you have to do is subscribe to my Odyssey channel. If within, let's see, we're in the month of May, June, July, August. Let's say by the end of August, if I get, like, this is not a contract, but let's say I get, like, I don't know, 500 subscribers on Odyssey, and YouTube is nowhere close to that, I will upload and stream exclusively on Odyssey. So that's my offer to anyone who likes Odyssey over YouTube and would like it to see have more original content. I am currently a small channel, but I believe in what I do. I want to upload the production values because I think I often say things that are after the fact backed by the industry professionals. It's really interesting. Like I could go back and kind of like look at my previous statements, and so I think I have things to say about the sport. So anyone who'd be interested in having this MMA show start like building an audience and be exclusive on Odyssey and have Odyssey just have these original creators who are not also uploading on YouTube. This is my offer. If by the end of August they have at least 500 subscribers on Odyssey, and YouTube is nowhere close to that, I'll be just uploading exclusively on Odyssey going forward um, for the foreseeable future. Um, so that's my offer to people who prefer Odyssey to YouTube. Now, I got some stocks in Endeavor, the company that owns UFC. And now it's the weekend, so Wall Street is currently closed, reopening tomorrow, Monday. But if you look on the right, you will see. So Friday, it went up 4.55%. And since Endeavor went public, they've already gone up 26.29%. Now, it's going up and down a lot. I don't know what it is about this stock, but it's really going up and down. But it seems to be pretty stable from its initial price, though. So it seems to. I think at some point it was. I have to look at my stuff. But if I look at my posts on Instagram just for a moment, yeah. So it seems to be pretty stable around 30. Sometimes it'll go down, but it's already gone up 26.79%. The sport of MMA is growing, guys. Sport of MMA is growing, and I think I mean we'll see. I'm not a professional. Don't take this as professional advice for your portfolio, but I think it'll pay off to get some Endeavor stock. Don't put any money you wouldn't be prepared to lose. Like maybe put. Let's say you would have gone out if it wasn't a pandemic. You would have spent this much money on drinks or whatever. Then you can always grab some Endeavor stock, making it interesting. For Canadian people out there, the app I use is Wealth Simple. That's the app I'm using for stocks. As a side note, so the way it works is right now I go live on Odyssey. This is where I do my live stream, and after a fact, I upload on both YouTube and Odyssey. And yes, YouTube for the time being, unless people are really motivated to start following me on Odyssey and give me a reason to go exclusive to Odyssey. And for anyone who wants to comment, when you go live, let's say you don't have an Odyssey account yet, I'll put a link on my Twitter so people can join. So if anyone doesn't have an Odyssey account, I'm also keeping my tabs open for Twitter and Instagram. So if anyone wants to comment on the show, if you want to chat or comment or anything like that, you can always do so. You can contact me on Twitter, Instagram, by messaging, sorry. And Twitter, either by leaving a comment under the thread of me going live or simply sending me a message. So yeah, let's see. So I'm not very used to multitasking yet, to be honest. I'm kind of like looking at the screen, making sure the stream is going well, all of that stuff. Normally when I went live, I would just grab my phone and go on Instagram and upload it after. Okay, so let's get started with the fighting stuff. So UFC 262 last night. Well, let's get started with Jacare breaking his arm and being a total badass about it. Like, just being completely chill. You see a theme running, and I'll get to Ferguson later, but I think there's a theme running right now through. If you look at UFC 262, it's the night where two veterans of the game who were known for having really good grappling, Jacare period and Ferguson in MMA terms, just getting hurt by younger fighters in grappling, and them being total badasses about it. It's really the theme of the night, it seems. But yeah, Jacare gets his arm broken. Um, and I didn't follow Jacare's career. Jacare Souza. So he got his arm broken by Andre Muniz, who. So yeah, sorry, I didn't follow Jacare's career, so I don't have like this emotional investment that was there for a lot of people. But I can only imagine when you see like a veteran, a fan favorite, and someone who just people didn't want to grapple with him, and then someone goes, grapples with him, and breaks his arm. It's insane, right? Uh, the game, and this is gonna apply to what I'm gonna say about Ferguson after, but the game is certainly um, evolving. The game is evolving, and I don't know. Some people are saying that the way that Jacare left his arm there is indicative of him maybe getting a bit overconfident in his grappling in MMA. But it was just like you heard that bone snap. That was crazy. Um, and I'd be lying if I said that I didn't like just when they say, "Oh, we can hear it," and they did a replay. I was like paying attention to the noise. It's like you wouldn't like really you want to hear it, and then when you hear it, you're like, "Oh no, I didn't want to hear it." Although what's funny is all the comments of people acting tough, like, "Oh, if you had trouble with the arm break, um, you're a casual, you're not a true MMA fan who's used to this." Like, okay, guys, calm down because DC Cormier didn't want to. DC Cormier was like, I don't want to hear it. And if are you gonna call DC Cormier casual of MMA? If anything, I don't know. I might be completely off here, but anyone who's like, oh, who cares? Like to anyone who's like flinching, like you're soft or casual. I'm guessing actually it's the opposite. I think people who know what it's like to get hurt sparring or rolling or whatever, they are the ones most affected, kind of like Cormier, I think. Well, it depends. Rogan didn't care. Um, it seems that Rogan has a morbid fascination with these things. But yeah, I think a lot of people who are like, oh, who cares? Like, I'm tough. Like, I don't care about this stuff. Like, I suspect it's because very often they just don't even know what it feels like. I might be wrong, but I think a lot of them are like, they consider themselves veterans of watching the sport, but they're not veterans of like doing combat sports. Again, just theories here. It's not like I went through profiles to have a look and see what it was about. But yeah, for Jacare, I suspect he's gonna get cut from UFC because it seems that older fighters who lose are getting cut lately. And he wasn't even in the main event. Like we're talking about next champion who was in the prelims. I don't wish him that. I want to be clear on that. But now, like by the time his arm heals, he's already 41. He lost. Like I suspect UFC pays him better than they pay Andre Muniz. Not that I checked, but I don't feel uncomfortable making that guess. So that's the only fight of the prelims that I'm going to mention, actually. um, well, I've been pussyfooting around it. Let's talk about Tony Ferguson versus Benil Dariush. And I have thoughts on this. I have thoughts on this fight because, fuck. I'm formulating my thoughts here, but I do not think that Ferguson has slowed down. I don't think he got older that much. I mean, I do think the mileage is starting to pile up, sure, but I think this is more the game catching up to him and who he faced in the past compared to who he's been facing lately. So if you think of who Ferguson has faced in the past, they've all been generalists, I think. Let me think here. Well, there was Barboza, who's known for his Muay Thai. So for Muay Thai, Ferguson does well. Kickboxing, he does well. And then he's faced like people who kind of are MMA fighters who do it all. They don't necessarily specialize on one aspect strongly, or they're not known to be like, oh, this is like a world level grappler or stuff like that. When he faced Gaethje, I think Ferguson was missing a lot of the head movement of traditional Western boxing, and from indications of round one against Dariush, he fixed that. He trained with Freddie Roach, and in round one, you could see his head movement was there. So Ferguson was someone who knew how to do these things. He had just kind of like dismissed them, and now he had to relearn them. And Dariush normally, despite his grappling background, Dariush is someone who normally is really happy to stand and trade, which didn't happen here. And I think it's because Ferguson had made the adjustments in striking where Dariush was like, nah, I'm going to grapple this guy. So again, I think what happened in the past three losses, I don't think Ferguson lost a step. I think the game is catching up to him. And I'm going to repeat what the commentators were saying. It's about the fundamentals. And when you see Ferguson in the past, yeah, his grappling is really good, but at the same time, it's kind of like it was very specifically MMA grappling for people who kind of post up and try to ground and pound him. So the stuff he would do, like with Kevin Lee, Kevin Lee, he did a triangle, but Kevin Lee gave him that space and didn't control the legs. So like he wasn't dealing with like the level of grapplers like Oliveira or Dariush, who are like legit BJJ experts who also learn how to strike. And they are sticky. Those BJJ people, like they're not trying to take you down and then like post up and ground and pound. They're gonna stay sticky. They're gonna stay close to you. And then it's kind of understood that an MMA fighter, it's understood that let's say you put him in a grappling only match, they're gonna struggle against BJJ players, right? Okay, that goes without saying. But I imagine more and more BJJ players are going into MMA and also really working on the striking. Like their striking becomes like that level. There's no more equalizer. You can't just. I feel like more and more when you look at Khabib, you look at Oliveira, you look at Dariush, you can't be a generalist anymore, but you can't be like a one-sided specialist. You just have to be a specialist at everything. And the game is catching up. That's what's starting to happen. So Ferguson, I think, was this guy who had a grappling that was very specific to an MMA style, but that wasn't necessarily the best against like very traditional sticking close to you jiu-jitsu. I mean, okay, I'm saying this at the level he's fighting. I want to be clear on this. Like the Ferguson is like an amazing grappler. I'm just talking if you put him against like top level of BJJ black belts, that is gonna be something where he's gonna struggle. It seems. To his credit, to Ferguson's credit, from what I saw in round one, from the people he trained with, and from knowing his past skills, I do think he'd do better against Gaethje a second time around. But the question is now, like, I don't think he's getting that fight because he lost again. He lost three in a row. So he's not getting the Gaethje fight. He might get cut, which at his age, after three losses, 37. I mean, I'm older than Ferguson, so I'm not saying at his age dismissively, but like for the fight game, let's say. I I hope he doesn't get cut, but I also don't think he gets a championship anymore. I don't think, um, when yeah, he already knew traditional boxing, bobbing and weaving stuff like that. So, but he had to learn against Gaethje. He was able, I think, to from what I saw, the round one of the fight against Dariush, he was able to get back. So I think he'd do better against Gaethje. But now with the rankings, he's not gonna fight Gaethje again. And in any case, even if he did and won that fight, which he almost did in the first time around, by the way. This is why I say I think Ferguson and Gaethje it's very winnable for Ferguson. But what I do wonder though is even if he did that, like he's not getting past the Rio, he's not getting past Oliveira. At least not without working at his grappling for a few more years. But by then he'll has to be too old for 155. He's 37. Let's say, let's say he was a young fighter. You go like, well, in 1 or 2 years he can get his grappling to deal with that. But now at his age, I don't know. What I like about what Dariush said in the post-fight conference is he said for the people cheering for Tony, he said they better keep cheering for him even now that he's losing, not just when he's winning. And I agreed with that 100%. I thought that had a lot of value because that's how you feel about Ferguson. Like whether like no matter whether it's in the UFC or another organization, no matter for belt or no belt, doesn't matter. I'm gonna follow that man's career. I'm a fan of Ferguson, and whether he can get a belt or not, like he's earned respect in his fan base, and he's always exciting to watch, except when he's being kept down by BJJ elite and can't do much except defend. Which, again, the fact that he can defend against these guys, he's grappling is world level, Ferguson as well, but just not that level. That's a problem. Um, and I wonder because Ferguson has this like wrestling background where you'd think he'd be able to. He used to be able to stop people from taking him down, but you know when he came back from that leg injury, tripping on the cable when he was supposed to fight Khabib, now I'm just like, this is just a conspiracy theory, but well, not a conspiracy theory, but just like I don't know if that's the case or not, but maybe that's why maybe he can't stuff takedowns the way he used to with his leg. Who knows? Sometimes all it takes is for one leg to be weaker or something to not work the same way, and then stuffing takedowns becomes. Although maybe that's what he can concentrate on. I think it would be more realistic for him to concentrate on stuffing the takedowns rather than getting to that level of grappling at this point. But again, at his age, I don't think he slowed down. I don't. A lot of people say he's. I don't think he slowed down. I think he's just facing stuff he hadn't faced before. But now the time it would take for him to make adjustments and the amount of fights he would have to take, then by then I think he would be slower. So what I mean to say is like I don't think Ferguson will ever get the UFC belt at this point. It would have been nice if he could have a crack at it back when he was in his prime, back when the game hadn't caught up with him so much. But I will forever be a Ferguson fan. And well, like it's just I don't care. Like even if he's like in bare knuckle boxing, I'll be watching. He's earned that respect and following, like a 12 fight win streak. That's not nothing. And as for Dariush, like I've kind of been talking more about Ferguson, but also I'm addressing his skills. Like Dariush is a world level grappler, and it seems that in his fight with Ferguson, he finally learned not to just stand and bang all the time when he doesn't need to. So that to me, it's kind of funny how it seems like fighters get to that level against Ferguson, like Gaethje decided to start fighting smarter. Well, that was before Ferguson, that's true, but it seems like when they face Ferguson, like they decide they want to start addressing some tactical mistakes they might have been doing in the past. They might have been having. So Dariush is a very dangerous guy. And I kind of want to see Dariush versus Oliveira now because it's gonna be. I think a lot of casual fans are gonna would hate Dariush versus Oliveira, but as far as the BJJ goes, that's something that I really, really would like to see. Like grappling, ground fighting for MMA, not just like pure ground fighting. I guess it would kind of look like combat jiu-jitsu at this point. Um, but yeah, that's yeah. It's just I think when we were watching Ferguson win one after the other, and he's such a character, and it felt like a special moment in MMA. And I think the thing about Ferguson where you can rally behind him is because all these things that happened to him in the sport were so unfair. Like he was doing so much work and so many amazing victories, and yet like the stars never aligned for him, and in a way that they aligned for other fighters. And what I hope for him right now, I think the best case scenario is UFC keeps him, Conor McGregor loses his fight, and therefore we get McGregor versus Ferguson, where the matchmakers think like, oh, this is Ferguson keeps losing lately, so this is winnable for McGregor, and whether Ferguson wins or loses or whatever, like he gets paid. Uh, I hope Conor doesn't win against Dustin Poirier, by the way, because I do not feel like watching Conor get a title shot. I'm really ready to move on from McGregor in the sport. I don't mind his presence, but I don't like his how overwhelming his presence becomes when he's on top, if you will. I'm not interested in that. He's so annoying. Like he's always tweeting every time some fighter does something amazing that's like anywhere near his weight range, a little, even a little bit. He makes it about himself, tweets something, but like for example, you see Dustin Poirier when he congratulated Oliveira, he just congratulated Oliveira, but first McGregor made it about himself. Like, oh, I wonder who's next. Like, dude, just let him have his moment. And then everyone's like, if I guess even I'm talking about it, but I'm talking about it to complain about how everyone's posting and quoting that and like just making it important news when it isn't. But that's okay. McGregor's not getting past Poirier, that's for sure. I mean, for sure. I don't think he does. But I predicted that Ferguson would win and Chandler would win, so I got it wrong on both sides. And on Twitter, like there was a thread where I commented, and someone this morning liked my comment about I think Ferguson will win and I think Chandler will win. So that's kind of funny. Person was kind of mocking me, I guess, by liking the comment because I got it wrong on both counts. I'm sorry. Yeah, it's rough to be. It's a tough time to be a Tony Ferguson fan right now. But yeah, that's where we're at. Okay, so I already started talking about it, so I guess we better move on to the main event. Man, what a likable guy Charles Oliveira is. Um, he I guess for him to become like this superstar, like he needs to work on his English. It's unfair, that people are required to learn a language that's not their own just to but that's how it works. But then again, like just his personality, the way he's like so friendly with the crowd, and his genuine like behavior. He's so genuine, like when he got the belt, it was just like this moment of pure joy. Like it was like watching a kid who got a gift for Christmas or something. It was just like it was fun to watch. It made you smile. And obviously, as a Tony Ferguson fight fan, I liked how he like encouraged Ferguson during the face-offs when Ferguson was gonna do the face-off with Dariush. Um, but yeah, that fight against Chandler, man, I thought Chandler was gonna win it. And It's interesting. Teddy Atlas said that when you punch, you don't go backwards after, you move your head, or And what happened was Chandler punched and went backwards in a straight line. Sorry, don't go backwards in a straight line. And that's where Oliveira caught him. But Chandler was impressive as well. He gave his back to Oliveira and like didn't get finished, turn around. That's impressive. That's like anti jiu-jitsu, he calls it. Well, a lot of people use that term, but it's when Oliveira beat Ferguson, I mentioned that I thought he very well might be the next champion. Everyone was making it, no, not everyone, but a lot of people were making it like about it, like, oh, Ferguson lost a step after Gaethje. I don't think he did. I think it was just Oliveira was that good, and that's why I thought that okay, Oliveira might very well be the next champion, and I was right. Even though then I was wrong because at the moment I didn't know he was gonna face Chandler, and then I thought Chandler was gonna win it. But yeah, Oliveira is very precise, very technical, and but Chandler almost won. So, it's not like I made a prediction that was completely insane or anything like that. In my defense, but the, the winner of Poirier versus McGregor is next for sure. Dana White saying, "Oh, I don't know who's next." Like we know who's next because McGregor Poirier, unless there's an injury and the person can fight or something, like Poirier is the most deserving of a title shot at this one at 155, and if McGregor wins, they're going to be foaming at the mouth to give him a title shot for sure. And at that point, I have to admit he'd have a good reason if he beats Poirier. How can you not give the man who beat Poirier a title shot? Okay, I just hope it's Poirier. I am not a fan of McGregor's antics at all, or love his fan base. When I look to the side, I'm just looking to see if there's any comments. Okay, so yeah, Oliveira's the champ, and that division is so crazy because Chandler could have won it as well. It was like a really short but really good fight, and what's interesting with Khabib out of the picture is that now you kind of see like, okay, who's gonna get it, who's gonna win next? You know, like it's kind of uncertain. With Khabib, you were starting to get the feeling that Khabib's gonna win for sure, and now I guess it's a bit more exciting in that sense where it's a shame to no longer see Khabib do his thing, but sorry, but it's also exciting because you don't know who's gonna win, and that's an exciting thing. Although Oliveira might have given Khabib some trouble, you know, he might have because Styles makes fights, and Oliveira's ground fighting is so good, he might have been able to give some trouble to Khabib. I still think Khabib, if he were still in the division, he would win against everyone there, but uh, it's not impossible in my mind that Oliveira could win it. And heck, Dustin Poirier almost guillotined Khabib at some point in the fight, in their fight, twice. Well, one more than the other, but yeah. So 155 is really exciting. And I'd like to see Chandler against Gaethje, I guess. That would be really good. That would be really interesting. Like these two wrestlers who strike really hard. That would be really cool to watch. Chandler versus Gaethje. I'd really like to see that one. For Ferguson, I hope they don't cut him. I hope they give him some respect, even though he lost three in a row. He's not. It's not like he's finished. He's still an elite level fighter. We can see it. It's just like he doesn't do well against the BJJ elite. It seems like the grappling elite, ground fighting elite. He has trouble with them. With the proper matchups, Ferguson is still highly elite, highly competent, very exciting. So I hope we'll see. Even though I don't like to watch McGregor's antics, I really want to see McGregor versus Ferguson, so Ferguson can get paid. Okay. On the side of one championship, so we have our first Indian champion in a major MMA organization in Arjan Bhullar. I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing it. And he beat Brandon Vera for the one belt, one championship belt. Yeah. And I don't know what he's holding there. I think it's a training weight, or maybe it's just supposed to be a scepter or a mace, like a war mace. But I think it's the thing like where you train. I don't know. I think it's a fitness thing. You hold this, and there's a weight at the end, and you do exercises. But I'm not sure. Uh, whatever it is, it looks cool. It's gold, so that's cool. His call out to you had that Ryush like when he won, like addressing Elon Musk, and then you have like Arjan like calling out pro wrestling, like WWE and AEW. I think, and I was like, what's going on? What's he doing? The guy just won a belt, and I guess maybe he's just trying to get like eyes on him. if he addresses those organizations, then those fans also talk about it. That might be actually smart. Because I didn't, as an MMA fan, I didn't understand his call out at all. Like calling out pro wrestling, I don't get it. Unless that's where he wants to go. He's like, now I want to go there. Like, but you just got the belt. You haven't defended it once. But maybe he's just trying to get like more people to talk about him. So by addressing those fan bases, they'll talk about him. I liked One Championship. I really like it. Like their events, like the vibe. I actually like the style of One Championship events more than UFC or Bellator events. To be honest, I don't know. There's something about one. It looks more polished, looks more epic, and this is gonna sound like such a superficial thing to say or a reason, but I love that even if someone's not fighting for a belt, if they win, they give him like a medal or her. I kind of like that. I kind of like that the fighters can collect their medals. It's I don't know why. Not as a participation trophy. They won the fight, So I'm not for participation trophies, but there's a belt, sure. But hey, if you want to fight, here's a medal. That's cool, and it makes for a cool picture. Like the fighter gets to show like his medal and um which is kind of interesting in that context because that changes the kind of pictures you see from one championship. If you'll notice, most pictures of one championship fighters who win are not the same type of picture as other organizations. In organizations, when someone wins, you see like they're like yeah, like this, and the ref is like holding the arm, and either you see the fighter or you don't. But that's how you visualize. That's how you make it visual. This guy or girl won, guy or woman. And with one, you have the medal, so they're like next to the ring girls or cage girls, depending on the event, and they're like holding the medal. So that becomes the picture that most people use for when someone wins that one championship. Interestingly enough, it changes the image that's chosen. It visually differentiates one championship from the other ones. Now we're talking more like I guess marketing and style and branding. That doesn't have to do with the new heavyweight champion in one championship. But congratulations to Arjan, who I believe trains in Canada. He's Canadian, yeah, Indian descent, but he lives in Canada. So fellow Canadian, and yeah, okay. And finally, let's talk about Triller. Let's talk about Triller. I have two things to say about Triller. First of all, GSP. It's said that apparently GSP was offered $2 for Triller against. Wow, I can't believe I'm drawing a blank on his name. This is where you see where I'm not a boxing fan. I'm an MMA fan. Okay, wait. Can't believe I'm forgetting his name. Boxing fight. GSP boxing fight with Oscar De La Hoya. Okay, I can't believe I forgot that name. I normally know it. It's morning. Okay, I'm using a lot of caffeine here. And sugar. There's Starbucks double shot white chocolate liquid replacing my blood in my veins right now. It's really syrupy. Not very good. Normally I drink the mocha one. I want to try something new. I'm regretting this decision. Anyway, so it's interesting to read the comments of boxing fans. So what happened is GSP was in talks to fight Oscar De La Hoya in a boxing match for Triller, and that would have made GSP a lot of money. And Dana White said no. Apparently, those are the rumors. I don't know how verified they are and all that. I don't think GSP has commented on it yet, but it's just really sad that GSP hasn't fought for UFC in years, and not letting him go, and then Dana White, he's such a douchebag. When people address it, he's acting defensively. Oh, like Chiller should leave me alone. I don't want to deal with them. They're coming to trying to get my fighters. But GSP hasn't fought for you in years, man. You're not using him. You're just keeping him in that contract. It's disgusting. And the boxing fans are so used to fighters having more rights that they don't even understand it. It's cute. It's kind of cute how boxing fans now are kind of coming to defense of MMA fighters because they're like, oh, Dana White is going to lose all his fighters with that attitude, and oh, they're going to go elsewhere. It's like they think it's like boxing, right? Where a fighter can go to one management or the other, or this organization or the other, and compete with anyone they want. Like they think it's like that, and it's kind of cute. And they compare Dana White to a slave owner, which I think is a fair comparison. And yeah, I think Dana White is a gross human being. I think he's gross. I think he's disgusting in his behavior. I think if GSP wanted to box Oscar De La Hoya, he should let him. He's just being petty. He let Ben Askren go box. He didn't care. Yeah, I don't know. It's just sad that fighters are enslaved to these contracts, and that's why I want more fighter rights, because in the end, it's kind of funny because people think that because they look at boxing and they say, oh, like look at what happened to boxing. We don't get the fights we wanted. That's starting to change because I think it's a matter of competition. If MMA is giving people the fights they want to see, boxing has to catch up, and that's starting to happen. Right now, what's happening in MMA is, or like, there's fights we want to see we're not seeing. Like John Jones not fighting Ngannou because he's not getting paid, and he can't go to another organization to make it happen because of the contracts. GSP can't box Oscar De La Hoya, to make a big paycheck, which he deserves because DSP is arguably he's in a conversation of the greatest all the time in MMA. Yeah, and Dana White is just this guy who will avoid actually talking about the subject, and he makes it about something else, and then he only stupid people think he addressed the matter at hand. And you often see people online who think that Dana White makes sense, that he's cool, and that his arguments are good, and that's when you know someone's dumb, when they believe Dana White. If someone believes Dana White, they are unintelligent. When Dana White says like, "Oh, I don't know why Troller is bugging us. Like, leave me alone. Stop contacting me and start trying to get my fighters." But GSP is not fighting for you. He's just under this stupid contract, which is tyrannical. And for anyone, well, then don't sign it. Yeah, where else is an MMA fighter gonna fight? Like now it's starting to change. And Bellator is amazing at that. They let their fighters box and all that. Props to Bellator for that. I don't know about one, how it works with one championship, but I certainly want more fighter rights. I don't think we're gonna get less cool fights. I think the in this day and age where because boxing used to be the only big thing in town, and that's why they got away with a lot. But now that there's this competition between people can watch MMA and be like, oh, look at these fights. They can watch boxing. That there's more available. So I think that in itself will make for the creation of exciting fights. So now all we need to do is make sure that fighters, MMA fighters, have proper rights to make choices about their careers and get paid what they deserve, and not be just at the mercy of Dana White's pettiness and tyrannical desire for control. Okay, and the subject of getting paid in boxing and thriller, there's something I want to talk about. This guy, Jake Paul. Jake Gotcha Hat Paul. Isn't that the most obnoxious picture ever seen of someone wearing boxing gloves? uh, it's kind of funny. Is I'm starting to kind of like the guy. I used to hate him, um, and I still think the things he said about Ben Askren made no sense because he's like, "Oh, it's gonna be easy for me. It's gonna be easy," but then he's crying when he wins. And again, like Ben Askren is not a striker, and I wouldn't even argue he wasn't really down. The ref did Ben Askren dirty that time, but yeah, I don't know. He was crying after beating Ben Askren in a boxing fight, not an MMA fight, a boxing fight. And then after saying that Ben Askren wasn't good, so why are you crying then? Why is it significant if he's not good? So all that aside, and like what he does, like as a YouTuber, I don't care for. But what he's come to mean to the world of combat sports, I think is interesting because this is going to be painful to say, but Jake Paul comes with some fair arguments to the combat sport world. Because one thing that the Paul brothers know is how to promote themselves. I don't know how much of that is just purely them, how much they have a team helping them with that. If Jake Paul grabs Mayweather's hat and then sells out clothes that say "Gotcha hat," was that thought of by a team behind him, or was that Jake Paul having the idea? I don't know. But the Paul brothers do understand promotion, promoting yourself, at a level where a lot of fighters don't. They're clueless. There are a lot of fighters who are clueless. You have people who are geniuses at it, like Ben Askren, Israel Adesanya. They know how to promote themselves. Other fighters have no clue, and it pains me to say it, but it has to be addressed. And the proof of that is in how fighters are calling out Jake Paul, hoping to get paid. First of all, Dana White is gonna screw over anyone in the UFC. Let's get out of the way. He's not gonna let anyone box Jake Paul, and that's we've just been over it because Dana White is a piece of shit. But but fighters have been calling Jake Paul in their own ways. They are using traditional fighter methods. Just tweeting, "Hey, I'll beat you up. I'll knock you out. Come on, sign a contract. Let's fight. Hey, stop running." Like Jake Paul is a YouTuber, and it's so funny because the one moment where Jake Paul gave Ben Askren respect was before the fight they were being like in the interview, the press conference, they asked Jake Paul what he thought of Ben Askren promoting the fight, and in that moment, Jake Paul suddenly turned super respectful towards Ben Askren, and that's when you see like Jake Paul is more than a fighter, and I'll call him a fighter, fair enough, but more than a fighter, he's uh, online celebrity. They're about self promotion. They're about marketing in the social media era. They're about getting people to talk about them, to watch them, to click, discuss them, like I'm doing now. By the way, I find Jake Paul a lot less obnoxious than McGregor. Just as a side note. But so it's kind of funny how Jake Paul was giving props to Ben Askren in that moment, where he was like, "Oh yeah, Ben Askren really promoted the fight well," and that was something that Jake Paul really appreciated and really respected him for it and gave him props, and that was kind of like, "Wow, that's actually a compliment." And it was no backhanded compliment. He was really saying like, "Yeah, he did promote it well," and I don't remember how he said it, but he was just like having respect for Ben Askren in that sense of Ben Askren being social media savvy. So fighters out there, the odds of professional fighters watching my show are very low, but let me, nevertheless, just in case there's a few of you out there, let me give you some advice. You don't call out Jake Paul by writing about it on Twitter and calling him out as a fighter. You call out Jake Paul by creating social media content. Do a video mocking him. Do like post pictures mocking him. Come up with memes mocking him. You have to make it a social media battle first, and then it becomes a boxing match. You do not go straight to the boxing match unless you're like Cormier, who's the next champ, and Jake Paul can see like the dollar signs there. if you're not as big a draw as like Cormier or McGregor, like what you have to do is you have to go through the avenue of social media. If you don't know how to, ask someone in your environment entourage who's social media savvy. If you don't know how to, and you really want that Jake Paul fight, invest, pay someone to do this work for you. Okay, you can pay not a publicist per se, but like there's experts in social media now. There's social media experts. Like their job is to create memes for marketing. There's just make that happen. Just make that happen for you. Pay people if you don't know how to. If you're not like a Ben Askren or Jake Paul who knows how to put themselves out there in social media and create memes and create funny content. Pay someone to do it for you. Believe me. Even if Jake Paul doesn't notice, even if it doesn't get the amount of views that, or even if he notices but doesn't lead to a fight, like even then you already have increased your fan base and you'll people will be talking about you. They'll because you know when a fighter at this point tweets, "Oh, I want to box Jake Paul." Yeah, you and like 100 other people want to box Jake Paul. No one, you're not gonna stand out. Make a funny video and you're gonna stand out. Make funny social media material. Even if I know you're not about that life, I know you're real fighters, you're not about that. But if you want that money, and if you want people to talk about you, fuck it. Pay someone to do it for you. Pay someone to make the content for you if you have to. That's how you get to that fight, and that's how you get people talking about you. There's a book about, well, it's many years old now, so it's outdated, but it's called Trust Me, I'm Lying, and it's about marketing online. I think the expression was the dark marketing. Well, anyway, so it's just like dirty online marketing tricks. Trust Me, I'm Lying is the name of the book, and not outdated and not exactly pertaining to this specific case, but when you read that book, you kind of realize how things work online. Maybe I should apply it for myself, make my channel grow. But I mean, I really think that's what fighters need to do. I think they can learn from Jake Paul, which might be painful to hear, but there it is. I also think no one's really gonna be interested in like Logan Paul versus Mayweather, and I think Jake Paul is quickly gonna outgrow Logan Paul if he hasn't already. Um, in popularity. But like I like that Jake Paul is talking about the how unfair things are for fighters, how they're gonna get paid fighting for him. He's got this stage and this freedom that pro fighters don't have right now in MMA at least, and he's bringing up a lot of conversation to these matters. So I like that, and I don't care that he's boxing. Like it doesn't offend me that he's boxing. I don't care that he grabbed Mayweather's hat. I'm not like, oh my god, it's so disrespectful. Like, sure, he shouldn't have done that, but like, he didn't slap the guy or anything. Like, and Mayweather lost his shit so bad. If someone grabbed my hat, like in that kind of context, like, okay, like when Mayweather lost his shit, he gave Jake Paul exactly what he wanted. Like, the best thing Mayweather could have done, like with Jake Paul, got your hat. The best thing Mayweather could have been like, and just turn around and walked away. Like, man, I'm rich. I can buy like 1,000 of these, or like thousands of hats like these. Like he should have just been like, just super dismissive, like, okay. And then he walks away, and Jake Paul like stays with this hat and looks like an idiot, like because then if you don't give the hat value, it is without value. And then Jake Paul got all excited about grabbing something that has no value. However, if you grab the hat and like Mayweather was like, it's like punching him, and then the hat has value. If Jake Paul had grabbed the hat and goes, "Got your hat," and Mayweather was like, and just turns around, fucking leaves. If Jake Paul doesn't sell out clothes that say "Gotcha hat," everyone's mocking Jake Paul. But instead, you reacted and you gave value to that hat. Where is that hat right now? Did Mayweather get it back? Does Jake Paul have it? Is it lost to the sands of time? Whoever has that hat and is someone like credible, should just like, if it's Jake Paul or Mayweather, like I don't know what happened to the hat. I want to know what happened to the hat now. But they should just sign it and sell it online and make a lot of money. And I know Mayweather already has a lot of money, but he's always wanting to make more money. What's easier than just writing on the hat and selling it? Or if Jake Paul has it, fuck it. I think that's what they. If the hat is not lost, they should sell it, sign it, and sell it. That'll be funny. Speaking of things you wear, there's out there in the world. A while back, I made an Instagram video about this. Out there in the world, there is someone training with a pair of top boxer boxing gloves, Muay Thai gloves, that say Bruno's MMA on them, and it's not me. So what happened is, okay, the gloves are not out. Oh yeah, I had this glove made custom from Top Boxer. It's a beautiful glove, and this is a winning style glove. Really nice to. I barely use them. Used to hit pads the other day with it, but you know, the person holding them for me is a friend who doesn't know about holding pads or anything, so I couldn't get much out of this. But ever since I got them, I haven't used them yet. Um, so I used them with a friend, but he didn't know how to hold pads. And when when I go back to a gym, when everything gets back to normal, I don't think I'll be wearing these right away. Like you enter a gym with gloves with your own name, people are gonna be like, okay, who does he think he is? I just made these for a show, and then I was like, well, I have them, might as well use them, But okay, so I was talking about this for a reason. So I had these made custom, but what happened was the first time when I explained it, one of the gloves I had like, because I have like Muay Thai gloves that are like Top Boxer logo here and here, and they said, okay, I would like Muay Thai gloves, but with Bruno's MMA show instead of the Top Boxer logo. So what they did the first time around is this still had Top Boxer, and it's here that you have Bruno's MMA show. And I explained to them, oh, that's not what I wanted, and they were super cool. They were like, okay, we'll do a new pair for you. And they asked me, do you still want the other one? Like, we'll. And I said, no, I'm sorry, but you know what? If you want to sell it, that's cool. Um, if anything, it's like okay, it's almost like someone's gonna wear something with my branding on it. It's not bad for me. Um, unless you see something awful, like someone like sparring with a kid and hitting real hard with gloves that have my name on it or something, then that would be really bad for me. But in theory, people just train in the gym with them. It's not harmful to me. Like so. I told the boxer, no, just sell them. It's cool. And I don't know if so. On the Top Boxer website, I saw they were sold. Let's see, Top Boxer. I'm googling it right now as we speak. Let's see. Mm, just some, but yeah. So someone bought them. So that means that out there, there's someone who has a boxing gloves, a Bruno's MMA show written on them, and it's not me. And I'd like to know who it is. If anyone out there knows if it's you or you know the person who has them, or so I can't find the result on their webpage anymore. I guess they removed that page now by now. It used to be on the topboxer.com website. You could see the page where they sold the gloves that have my show's name on them, and it mentioned sold out. Like there was only one pair, but it was sold out, and it's not there anymore. But yeah, if anyone, hey, if you're the one who has the gloves or you know the person, I really would like to see a picture of the person with the Bruno's MMA show gloves. If you can send it to me, Bruno's MMA show at outlook.com or on Instagram or Twitter. Um, it'd be really cool just to see where those gloves ended up. It's weird to know that there's out there a pair of gloves with my show's name on them, and I don't know in what country or who's using them for what. Yeah. But they're good gloves. The Bucks are good gloves. Okay, just going over. Well, no questions were written anywhere for today. It's okay. I'll. It's the first time I go live like this. Normally I go on Instagram, so that people who follow me on Instagram see it on Instagram, and then they go check it out. So it's the first time I go on Odyssey like this. So I think like people following me were not. I think they didn't even know that I was here today. As I do it, I'm hoping to have more people come online and chat with me. Leave comments, ask questions, all that good stuff. I had a lot of fun with that last time. Um, okay, well, I think that's it for today. That is it for today. So, everyone watching After a Fact on YouTube or Odyssey, thank you so much for watching. If you want to support the show, you know what to do. I have Patreon link in the comments, like, up to you. Or on Odyssey, you can tip me with library credits if you want to join Odyssey. And Odyssey written like so. Okay, everyone. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern Time, unless something happens. Like of course, life can be unpredictable sometimes. So pay attention to my Twitter in the description. There's the link. Bruno's MMA Show one being the digit. Is my Twitter name, and I don't know why Twitter added a one. There wasn't any other Bruno's MMA Show on Twitter. Don't know if I can get it changed at some point. Maybe I should look into it. Although by now I've been giving the link as Bruno's MMA one everywhere, so maybe I shouldn't change it at this point, but whatever. Okay, see you all next Sunday. Thank you so much for watching.